Hello, everyone, and welcome to Art Smart. One of the great unanswered questions in history is, what if Adolf Hitler was accepted into art school? A lot of people know that Adolf Hitler was indeed an artist, and he did indeed try to get into art school and was rejected. The question is, what if he was accepted? Would Hitler have still gone on to be such a awful person when it comes to running the Nazi Party and of course all the things that are part of World War II and the Holocaust? Would that have happened if Hitler had actually made it into art school? Well, I've done a little bit of research, and it seems, at least in my opinion, that no, probably not. Adolf Hitler probably was not ever going to get into art school, and what happened was probably going to happen whatever reality we were in. Why do I think that? Well, I don't think he was rejected from art school by mistake. I think if you look at some of the evidence that's out there of some of his paintings, you can see why he was rejected, and where some mistakes in his personal life and some decisions that his family made probably led him away from that particular path. One thing is Adolf's father refused, and I have some notes over here, so if you see me looking to the side, that's what I'm doing. His father refused him a classical high school education because Hitler wanted to be an artist, and his father didn't think that he was going to be successful, so his father did not allow him to go to a classical high school. This early decision means that Adolf probably did not have enough of a solid backing when he tried on his own to become an artist. Possibly if his father would have let him go to high school where he wanted to go, maybe he could have been a better artist, but it's unlikely. But the refusal of going to a classical high school definitely played into his future not being in art. Another thing is, starting in the very early 1900s, you started seeing Hitler having a very strong affinity towards German nationalism. And so a lot of the characteristics that would later show themselves to be him trying to fight against Germany becoming kind of a socio and economic lower status nation, he really wanted to raise the nation up. Those traits were showing very early in the 1900s, well before he ever applied to high school. So I think his passion for politics was probably going to take over regardless of what happened with his art. Now, he did poorly in school, and he claimed that he did this mostly on his own. He refused to try hard in school because he was kind of bucking the system. This also, though, played into him not being considered for certain schools like architectural school. More than likely, he was not going to make it into an architectural school with his obvious ability to do some architectural related art, because he was not doing well enough in school to really be considered. So I don't think he was ever going to make it into a major art school of any kind, even if it was architectural. Now, he was rejected at least twice from the Academy of Fine Arts, Vienna, and he started selling his own works from 1908 to 1913. And he was moderately successful selling his own works, but I think the fact that he was able to sell some of his own work on the side means that he was unlikely to drive himself to try and learn certain skills and be accepted by the other part of the art world. I think he had pretty much decided that he was going to be an independent artist, which means he was never really going to get into the classical schools. There have been people that have analyzed his works. John Gunther is somebody that is a art historian and has done analysis of his work, and he said, and I quote, Hitler's work was utterly devoid of rhythm, color, feeling, or spiritual imagination, which basically means that his works were just kind of lifeless, and he would just kind of paint what he saw. They're nice and pretty, but they were not necessarily anything that had a unique perspective or anything to really say. Hitler was somebody who was just kind of reproducing life, and he really did not have a message of any kind in his particular artwork, which isn't to say that he wasn't technically strong. He just didn't really have enough imagination and a unique perspective to make his art more than just merely pretty. There was also a lack of interest in humans, where a lot of the historians and the people that have criticized his works have said that his work on humans was relatively poor. He definitely was more interested in landscapes or in architectural types of paintings, and thus it probably was going to limit how far he could get in his art, because you need to have humans here or there in most art in order for you to be successful. So this all goes in to say that Adolf Hitler probably was never going to be a successful artist, and what happened was probably going to happen no matter what. But it's interesting to think about, and who knows, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe history could have turned out to be very different. I'm looking forward to your comments and questions if you have any, and I hope you continue to art smart. Bye-bye, everybody.